Hello, hello! Welcome back, YouTube, and today we are doing some proper Lorethrough content. Episode 104, to be exact. It feels like a good while since I've done this. But don't worry, I shouldn't be too rusty. I hope. We're gonna finally find out what's at the base of that Erd tree. Honestly, there's some crazy architecture going on in this whole platform. Almost looks like they have a garden down there beneath the boss room. The Erd tree itself has a crazy door. Goodness me. We're almost here, though. And we can summon Melina to help out. So this should be a grand fight. Take up one of these. Take a bunch of that. And Melina's in. Let's get to it. Illusory chairs.
Tarnished. What is thy business with these thrones? Godric the Golden. The twin prodigies, Mikola and Melania. General Radahn, Praetor Rykard, Luna Princess Rani.
Her chair is smaller.
Willful traitors, all. Thy kind are all of a piece. Pillagers, emboldened by the flame of ambition. Have it writ upon thy meager grave. Felled by King Morgoth, last of all kings.
So Margit was just an alter ego, and now it's time for the rematch of the century. Bet you didn't know you could parry that one. Need to back off for a moment. Melania can, or sorry, not Melania, Melina can buy us a moment. Melina, no!
Stained by my curse, such shame they cannot bear. Thy part in this shall not be forgiven.
Come on, Morgoth. I want to parry you one more time. There we go. Just to say I did it. Only like 1/4 of his moves are parryable. I should have shown off that grab. That blood lunge that he does, it'll skewer you, he'll lift you up in the air, and he'll toss you. Ooh, parrying way too early. Oh, there it is. I'm showing it off, see? I'm good at the content. And Melina summons a big old tree during her fight. Ooh, that was a clean finish. Thanks, Melina, for all that you did. We get Morgoth's Great Rune and the Remembrance of the Omen King. Melina disappears, and unlike any other boss that I'm aware of, well, actually maybe one other boss in FromSoft's history, not counting Sekiro, because I don't know hardly anything about that game, unfortunately. The boss is left over for you to chat to. I guess Renala, but did we really fight Renala, or did we push her around a little bit before we fought imaginary Renala? But here he is, Morgoth on the ground. Turns out Morgoth was Margit all around, and he looks downright miserable. His face, his body is dry and withered. Almost has these scars from previous pockmarks. But for some reason in this withered state after we've beaten the snot out of him, his horns are missing. And his tail is missing. He's still wearing his weird cloak of rags, though. And we can talk with him, for one. The other character I was thinking of that you talk to after their boss fight was, I think you talked to Ludwig's head after his fight in Bloodborne, but don't quote me on that. Let's see what Morgoth has to say, and then we will start staring at the environment.
Tarnished. Thou art but a fool. The Erd Tree wards off all who deign approach. We are all forsaken.
So, we are a fool, and we are forsaken.
None may claim the title of Elden Lord. Thy deeds shall be met with failure, just as I.
It's a pretty pessimistic outlook. But he doesn't have anything more to say to us. He still has collision, though. So, we are actually locked in the boss room, which is fairly unique. Don't mind what I'm doing. This is for later. But, looking around the place, it's a very nice area, I'd say. Maybe it was a meeting place. There's all the Lord chairs here. They could have been moved here at some other point. But what would be higher than Marika's bedchamber and higher than the Erdtree Sanctuary? Well, maybe not even a meeting place for kings and lords. Maybe for Marika's family, I don't know. Kind of weird how you have to step through Mom's bedroom to get to this meeting place, but I assume this is for others to get to the beginning of the Erdtree. Weirdly enough, it looks like there's a sort of barrier here that's been worn away and filled with briars. And all the way at the end there, we see a glowing pattern. We'll see that closer when we get there. Try to see if there's any other icons I'm recognizing, other than it's super ornate. The way the arches indicate to me, almost as if there may have been a roof at one point, but I doubt that. They look like they would be the starts of support pillars for a roof, but it's probably not their design. I'm not saying it's in ruins or shambles. In fact, it's in very good condition, but looking at the top of the thing here, I kind of have to get all the way as far as I can in the corner to take a look-see. But we have this symbol, right? It looks like a symbol that's a system of roots. And then the Elden Ring of some variety. And then we go up, and there's this wide symbol, a wide sort of tree, deciduous tree, probably the Erdtree. And then there's some sort of orb, kind of oblong orb. And then at the very top is more tree, it looks like. And I don't know if that's a representation of, say, the greater will or what have you, but I want to know what that dot is and what the tree-like symbol above it is. I don't think we have enough details for it just yet, but we will keep an eye open. The only other trees we've heard of are the Great Tree, which symbolically it should be below the Erdtree. Maybe that's what the roots are. Maybe the roots are for the Great Tree. Then there's the Erdtree, and then there's some sort of orb shape, and then yet another tree. Only other named tree we've heard about is the Halig tree. So maybe there's something and then the Halig tree? Is there some sort of natural progression? We don't know anything about the Halig tree, so we're not going to really speculate too much, but worth looking at, staring at. Here we have another one of these Elden Thrones. It's got the Tree of Jesse on it, with people on the branches signifying the family tree. Still not sure what the symbol is here at the very tippity-top. It looks like a building to me. And some people speculate it's Marika's bedchamber, because there's that bowl in her bedchamber where blessings of dew might have been collected. Hard to say. Still. And the other ones which looked like illusions were gone. Morgott, the grace-given lord, the veiled monarch of Lanedale, he has seals. He has a seal that was on the front of Lanedale until we got 2 great runes, I believe. I think it was sealed by his power. It could have been the 2 fingers. But underground, when we finished the subterranean shunning grounds, he had another thing blocked by him. And then if we wanted to get onto the rampart over here and head east, that was also blocked by Morgott. So Morgott seems to be very proficient with gold illusions. He had those chairs here. He had all of his weapons he used during the fight, the Erdsteel daggers he threw, the Carrion Nightsword he swung around, the big old giant crusher hammer. He also has those seals on doors he can manipulate from distance. It seems that Margit, the Fell Omen, was also an illusion of his. Not as strong as he was by any means, but still pretty powerful enough to squash most of the runabout worthless Tarnished that tried to make their way to Godric. Or on the outskirts of Lanedale. There was probably a few that died there too. And then he also has the golden shade of Lord Godfrey that we fought on the way up to Marika's bedchamber in the Erdtree Sanctuary. I wonder if that was another conjuring by him. It was that same gold color, so perhaps. So despite being an omen and supposedly someone disconnected from the cycle of grace, I guess maybe he was given grace in some capacity. It influenced his powers. Maybe the Erdtree was using him as a last line of defense before we got here. Anyways, from him, we received an item, a remembrance. Let's take a look at that. Remembrance of Morgott, the Omen King, hewn into the Erdtree. The power of its namesake can be unlocked by the Finger Reader. Alternatively, it can be used to gain a great bounty of runes. Though born of the graceless Omen, Morgott took it upon himself to become the Erdtree's protector. He loved not in return. He loved not in return, for he was never loved, but nevertheless, love it he did. So it seemed he loved the Erdtree, and it did not love him back. Which is kind of a shame. Maybe it's because he's cursed. He did mention cursed blood and how we'd spilled it over the arena, and he was very upset about that. Take a sippy of our blue drink here, and let's see what's going on up here. So, interesting. A set of roots, briars. Kind of reminds me of Deathroot. If there's a whole lot of Deathroot at the center of the Erdtree, I'll be upset. And if our car's not in there, I'll be double upset. That's a reference for people who actually watch this stuff. My goodness. And we can touch the Wall of Thorns. Looking closely at it, though, there is a trellis here. Who do we associate trellises with? So far, only Radagon. So something about Radagon and briars are in the way. Impenetrable thorns refuse all. None may enter the Erdtree. Well, don't you know. And there's a site of grace down here now. Very odd.
Hello again, old friend. Allow me a moment to converse with you. You were unable to enter the Erdtree, no? Prevented by the mantle of barbs. The thorns are impenetrable, a husk of the Erdtree's being. that spurns all that exists without. The only way to stand before the Elden Ring and become the Elden Lord is to pass the thorns. My purpose serves to aid in that very act. So I'd like you to undertake a new journey with me to the Flame of Ruin, far above the clouds, upon the snowy mountain tops of the giants. Then I can set the Erd Tree aflame and guide you down the path to becoming Elden Lord.
Alright, and she hands us the rolled medallion, so that's a lot of things to go over at once, but basically, thorns are in the way. We need to get into the Erd Tree past the briars if we are to be Elden Lord. Best way to do that is to burn them. Only thing powerful enough to burn them is the Flame of Ruin on the mountaintops of the giants, and Melina wants to join us for that journey. So what is inside the Erd Tree? Well, we know it's Queen Marika. We are to go in there, become her consort, and become Elden Lord, and if we have a Rune of Mending, possibly use that to fix part of the Elden Ring. But now we have the option to talk to her, which I botched last time, so let's see what she has to say.
I wish to journey with you once more to the Flame of Ruin, far above the clouds, upon the snowy mountain tops of the giants. Then I can set the Erd Tree aflame and guide you down the path to becoming Elden Lord.
Okay, that's what I thought she said. I think she just... Yep, she'll just repeat that.
And guide you.
Okay, so we will take our leave. But first things first, we have a quest to catch up on now that good old Morgott is dead. So let's head to the Stormvale boss arena and see if Gostock has moved. Okay, let's sit down and see if he moves. No, he has not moved. Let's see if we've exhausted his dialogue. We might have the dialogue of 2 other people to go check up on.
I suppose I'm free. I can do whatever takes my fancy. Can I, mate?
Okay. I don't think he has anything more to say than that. I forget what the trigger is exactly. Okay, so he's still stomping there. Let's go say hi to Kenneth Height as well. Get on our wee horse. I did have a zone I wanted to do, but we may not get to much of it. A brief zone after. Before we go find out what the Lift of Rold is all the way about here in these shadowy lands. The not-so-permitted shadowy lands. Oh, that running attack. The running attack's really fast, and I don't think it gets faster even with cast speed. It's repeated strikes or startup or something like that. Here's Kenneth Height. I swore we exhausted all his dialogue, but let's try.
I must begin my search post-haste for a true and stalwart lord of the proper lineage to take the reins of Limgrave.
Okay, that's all he has to say. Let's go check out the round table hold real fast. While we're here, we can see what Morgott's Remembrance gets us. Oh. Oh, that is definitely a thing to check out. We'll be right back for that. Don't mind... Don't mind the 2 fingers doing their thing. Don't worry, that didn't happen. It's fine. Nothing's wrong.
No, how could I say that? Father has always given me his guidance. And now... I've lost it.
Oh, let's give her the Stormhawk King. I swear we had already done this. Maybe I was mistaken.
Is that ash? I can smell the ancient storm in it. My thanks. I'll gladly take it. I'm not like Roderica. I don't feel the presence of spirits. let alone see them. Still, this ash, it reminds me of my first hawk. Thank you. In this ash, I can smell the ancient storm. It reminds me of my...
Okay, so it reminds her of her first hawk, and let's go chat with Gideon in case he has something to say on the matter of his ex-adoptive daughter's depression. You know, you always go to ex-adoptive fathers about people's depression.
Yeah.
Okay, he has nothing to say on that matter, but we do have stuff to talk to him about. So I think at this point, we are good to actually head to the Godric the Grafted boss arena. I think we've fulfilled what we need to do. Because this doesn't trigger until Morgott is defeated. Really? He's still here. What if we go to the secluded cell? What could I possibly be missing? Maybe, just maybe, Nefeli has more dialogue once we've rezoned. Maybe we do talk to Gideon about it. I just don't want him to info dump on us when we're trying to do something very specific. Okay, she's gone, so. As she ought to be. Guess I could talk to Gostock again, but I really don't think he has anything to say. Oh, good, he's gone. So I guess we just need to check to make sure Nefeli was out of the Round Table Hold. In case you forgot, Gostock was standing on what's left of Godric, face down in the mud, little more than a torso. Get in here. There's a statue of Lord Godfrey and Sarosh behind him. Elden Throne. Bunch of dynast priests or prophets. We have Kenneth Height to talk to.
Ah, nice to see you after so long. Safe and sound, I take it, yes? Good. Ah, quite. I have indeed selected a new ruler.
Yes, I'm sure it's
Lady
wholly your
Nefeli
decision.
Is strong and just, worthy of the burden of Limgrave's lineage. Such is the sincere opinion of I, Kenneth Height, no less. For the time being, I share command of the castle with my lady, but I plan on returning to my fort afterwards, at which time I can fulfill my old promise by raising you to the glory of knighthood. I hope it is just as wonderful as you imagine.
So, knighthood on the cusp. Once he gets back to his fort, we'll have a real chance. We'll be a shoo-in for the position.
For the time being, I share command, at which time I can fulfill my raising.
Okay, yep. So once he gets back to Fort Height, supposedly he will make us a knight. Yeah, get back to Fort Height, become a knight. Makes sense. Let's see what Gostock has to say, since he's here too.
Ah, you, is it? Haven't seen your mug in quite some time. As you can see, I'm the new lady's attendant. Freedom was worth squat. Besides, I like it round here. Lady Nefeli still fair of heart and countenance.
Yeah, given what Gostock looks like and all the other commoners look like him, I'm sure the ladies he's seen in his life aren't much to look at compared to Nefeli.
Still, I have the lady's trust, so I can loot all the corpses I like. I'll let you take a look at the goods if you fancy.
Seems to be whispering that part, as if the others wouldn't overhear his laughter. But his inventory has changed slightly. His shop inventory. He sells an ancient dragon smithing stone. Smithing stone made by polishing a golden gravel stone. A scale of the ancient dragon lord and hidden treasure of Farum Azula. So interestingly enough, there is some link between the Farum Azula beastmen and some ancient dragon lord. So much so that a piece of his scale is basically this game's version of a Titanite slab. We can get a standard armament to plus 25. The ancient dragon lord's seat is said to lie beyond time. This stone lightly twists time, allowing the creation of a weapon capable of slaying a god. Don't mind if we do. And let's see what Nefeli has to say after all that.
It's been some time. I must thank you for your aid. I told Father I would be with him no longer. I remembered the vow I took when I first became a warrior, so many moons ago. This land is much like the one from which I hail. I will call upon the storm to drive away the foulness that has settled on the winds.
So she plans to be a good monarch and to drive away the foul winds, or more likely, the bad reputation of this place.
Again, I am Nefeli Lu, warrior. Some call me by the title of Lady, but I remain the same woman underneath, though I have now abandoned my former guidance. I cannot express how much you've helped me.
And she hands us another Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone. So that's 2 weapons we could get up to plus 25 if we had the intermediary stones.
Should you become Elden Lord, I would gladly lighten your burden.
And she promises to help us one more time, which will be much later on. So, worthwhile not killing Gustok despite the scum wheel he is. Wheel? Wagon? He's scum, alright? He's a cretin. What do you want? I don't know why I said that. Stop following me. Alright, let's get to the round table hold. I think we have just enough time to explore some other dialogue, and then we will cut the episode there. Yeah, let's start with the 2 fingers being weird. Look at that. They're stretched upright. They are still as could be. Are they moving at all? I feel like they moved slightly before, but here they look almost completely still. That's kind of creepy. Oh, they're so creepy, and I hate how gaping the hole is on the side of them. Just one side, though. Eek. Eek. Looking at it, though. Wonder which one's the pinky finger and which one's the ring finger. Don't know. Really don't know. Their fingers are almost the same length. If I were to guess, I would say that this is a right hand. Alright, that's not important. Let's talk to Enya.
Well, you managed to return. You know what this means. The Earth Tree has spurned you. The fingers remain still, shaken by this turn of events. They are busy consulting the greater will. When they are finished, the fingers will again offer their guidance. But thousands, if not tens of thousands, of moons must first pass. No matter for me, but you. How will you ever manage to wait? My, oh my.
Alright. I want to burn the impenetrable thorns. We can tell her about Melena's plan.
Heavens forbid. That is not the domain of mere men. The burning of the Earth Tree is the first cardinal sin. And you say you seek the power of the Rune of Death too? The Rune of Death goes by 2 names. The other is Destined Death. The forbidden shadow plucked from the Golden Order upon its creation. Unleashing the rune now would be unthinkable. The fingers would never permit it. Nor would the greater will. But here we are. The fingers dormant, severing our link to the greater will. The realm and all life in ruins. Impossible events transpire beyond the ken of the fingers. Who is to say that the cardinal sin must be cardinal forever? Go on. Finish the job. Take the course you deem most worthy.
So it seems that Enya is not just a mouthpiece. She thinks for herself for the most part. And after considering our proposition for a moment, she says, well, perhaps the cardinal sin does not have to be cardinal forever. You should go forth and burn it, because it's going to take possibly tens of thousands of years for the two fingers to get enough wisdom from the from the greater will to make any sort of judgment. Also important to note, she drew a connection between Destined Death and the Rune of Death. They are the same name for the same thing, and that the Rune of Death, let's see, where is it? We have a key item we got relatively recently. We got the Mending Rune of Death Prince, right? Let's see. Used to restore the fractured Elden Ring when brandished by the Elden Lord. Alright. The Golden Order was created by confining Destined Death. Thus, this new order will become one of Death Restored. So the Golden Order was created by confining Destined Death. So at the time that Destined Death was confined, the Golden Order was conceived, right? Who sealed away Destined Death? Why, that was Malekith, the Black Blade, when he defeated the Gloam-Eyed Queen. And when he sealed away Destined Death, the black flame of the Gloam-Eyed Queen, as well as the black flame of the Godskin Apostles and Nobles, lost its power. So interestingly enough, when Queen Marika took charge, she devised a way for death to be removed from order, from the Elden Ring, Destined Death, the Rune of Death, and, well, it seems that it has not gone so well. It seems that she removed an integral part of the life and death cycle for her own little whimsy. Kind of reminds you of someone, doesn't it? Kind of sounds like Lord Gwyn from Dark Souls, perpetuating his age and not heeding the world's logic. So it seems that Marika spat in the face of the world's logic and caused a lot of damage by doing that. Let's see what she has to say about burning them thorns.
You must find kindling. Only the smoldering flame in the great forge of the giants on the highest peak in the lands between can burn the Erdtree. But special kindling is required to reignite the flame. For the flame to burn the Erdtree, a sacrifice is needed of one who envisions the flame and can lead you to the Rune of Death.
Okay, and let's see. Power of Remembrance. Yeah, we can look at Morgoth's. So we can either get his sword or a Regal Omen Baron, so a stronger version of the Omen Baron, right? Doll of a Curseborn Baron from the Erdtree's royal line. Okay. Omen babies born of royalty do not have their horns excised, but instead are kept underground unbeknownst to anyone imprisoned for eternity. These memorial fetishes are fashioned in secret. Interesting that, well, the Omen King has this, right? Morgoth. He is, it seems, of the Erdtree's royal line. So he's some sort of royalty. Even from the Erdtree, he doesn't seem like a standard royal. And given that he was a shardbearer, it makes me wonder if he has some sort of relation to the demigods. Though what that direct relation is, we're not sure just yet. Mog the Omen also had horns that weren't excised, along with a bunch of other Omen in the sewers that didn't have their horns excised. So other nobles, interestingly enough. Alright. Warped blade of shifting hue used by Morgoth, the Omen King. The cursed blood that Morgoth recanted and sealed away reformed into this blade. And let's see. And it seems to be cursed blood. So it is it's a dexterity weapon with an arcane requirement, and it does a little bit of blood loss buildup. So there you go. And what about equipment of champions? We can get his cloak. A cloak of ragged fur worn about the exposed body of Margit, the Fell Omen. So the cloak is associated more with Morgoth's alter ego. Makes sense since he decided to send illusory versions of himself around the world to kill Tarnished. Having slaughtered countless champions during the Shattering, the Fell Omen has become a horror to those who harbor ambitions for the Erdtree or for lordship. Yeah, we already asked her how to burn the thorns. Alright, going a little long, didn't mean to, but we have a Gideon to talk to, and then we will cut. Because he also has some interesting lore tidbits for next time. And subsequent times after that.
I hear you helped get the girl back on her feet. Though I'm not her foster father anymore, I'd still like to thank you. Sorry for the time you had to waste.
Oh, it wasn't wasted time, Gideon, you old fool. It was a pleasure to help a friend, and we got two big old dragon Titanite slab thingamagoos out of it. Alright, where should we go? We'll ask him for some reason.
If you're heading to the Forge of the Flame of Ruin, in the snowy mountaintops of the Giants, you'll need to find the Grand Lift of Rold, beyond the Forbidden Region. But go if you would. Take no heed of cardinal sin. The Two Fingers lost their purpose a long, long time ago.
And let's look at the Lift of Rold medallion while we're thinking about it. Conjoined split medallion depicting the Flame Peak. Brandishing the medallion activates the Grand Lift of Rold, connecting Lanedale to the mountaintop of the Giants. The Forge of the Flame of Ruin is said to be found upon their peak, and it is here Melina wishes to travel in resuming your journey together. Okay. And there's a Divine Tower in East Altus, which we might be able to get to by that rampart that was locked behind Morgoth's seal. So, alright, let's continue talking to him and exhaust his dialogue. So, about the secret medallions.
Find the Albinoric woman. She hides in a cave to the west of the Laskia ruins, which jut from the mist-shrouded lake of Liurnia. She knows the location of the medallion.
Okay, so we already have half of that medallion. We'll find the other half later, much later. Okay, unlocated demigods.
There are 4 more demigods yet to be located. Mikola of the Halig Tree, the Unalloyed. His twin, Melania, the undefeated swordswoman. Luna Princess Rani, daughter to Renala.
We know about that one.
And the one only known as the Lord of Blood.
Must be Mog.
Rani is said to have cast aside her great rune. So here at the Hold, we seek the whereabouts of the remaining 3 shard bearers. If you should learn anything of these matters, I'll trade your findings for a hidden treasure or a long-lost right, known only to me.
So if we get any info he doesn't have, he'll reward us.
Elden Ring and become Elden Lord. As such, I hope we are compelled to work together.
Okay. About Mogwyn Palace.
Oh, so that's where the so-called Lord of Blood was hiding himself, eh? A fitting little squat for that deluded maniac to bleat about the revival of his precious dynasty, while he turns our fellow Tarnished into bloody fingers. Let him stay there. That way, his delusions will remain as they are, distant and unattainable. But perhaps it's worth looking into. If what I've heard is right, then maybe... my apologies. Lost myself for a moment there. The information you shared is of great value. As promised, your reward. And it is a wondrous thing indeed. You are a true fellow. All I ask is that you remain constant.
And he gives us a cookbook. Okay.
There are 4 Mikola of his twin, Maluna Prince, and Rani is so here if you.
So that's all he has to say. We'll look at the cookbook, and then that is gonna be the end. Alright, we can make bewitching branches now. So we could buy a couple from a merchant in Liurnia. We haven't been able to make them, but now we can make them with the Fervor's cookbook. So, kind of funny how we learn about Moog, Lord of Blood, and he gives us the means of making bewitching branches. Okay, that is it for episode 104. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a good one. Tune in next time where we get to actually go to Mogwyn Palace and maybe a little more. Probably not. Thank you, and bye-bye.